If you haven't made any money in trading, this is your moment. Trading is very simple. Trading is like art. Sometimes the picture may not be clear, but when it isn't, it's best for you to step away. Now, in this picture right now, this is a chart of Bitcoin, BTC USD. For some of you, it may look like Japanese, it may look like hieroglyphics, but to my students, it should look clear as day. It should look like entry points and exit points. Now, I've perfected and practiced and backstudied the hell out of this strategy, which is what I call the LWV strategy. Now, without getting into too much depth and detail, there's actually a full breakdown video on my YouTube channel, which gives you guys the full understanding and back test and in real time testing of how the strategy works. So I'm not here to do that for you today, but what I am here to show you guys is the simplicity of entries and to let you know what you guys should be looking for, because as always, the economic calendar does take precedent. The economic calendar shows you all the macro and the geopolitical economical data that's coming out for the week ahead. And of course, naturally speaking, in December, which is the last month of the year, this now means that we're coming to an end. We're coming to an end. Business is about to come on hold. The national holidays are about to start. So it just means that, this is the last run. This is your last run. This is the last run before the year ends, which means the last chance for us to potentially hit some home runs. So for this week ahead, what you can see here is really and truly, I'm going to show you NFP is on Tuesday. Which is very unusual because usually we have NFP on the first Friday of each month. Okay, so we've got NFP taking place this Tuesday due to a lot of delays that's happened. It's the reason why it's taking place tomorrow. We've got CPI, which is core inflation data, on Wednesday, and on Thursday it really does get interesting because on Thursday we've got the Bank of England interest rate, we've got the Euro interest rate, and we've also got the US core inflation. CPI, that is inflation data along with jobless claims, but the inflation data is very important, guys, because with the inflation data, what it's going to do for us is it's going to give us a better understanding on what the Fed is currently doing, their thoughts on how the markets are going to be reacting going into really the first quarter of next year. Now on Friday, we've got the Bank of Japan interest rate, which will probably remain the same if I'm honest with you. So if we go into the charts, we can understand now that the liquidity most likely may not enter the markets until Thursday or Wednesday. But for traders who understand, getting in early can sometimes put you in a better position. A lot of people trade funded accounts, so it means that they're not able to get into trades when the news comes out. But if they're in a trade 3 or 4 days before the news comes out, then of course that's going to serve them a better purpose. So here's an entry that I've got for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's had a rebound. So over the weekend, we was in this consolidation period right over here, right? Now, this consolidation period that we've seen inside of here, we finally got a breakout. Price came down. We can see here price came down, pulled back up, but continued coming down lower. Now, these purple zones, these are the money shot zones, okay? These are my zones that I've been able to ascertain by using my strategy LWV, which is free on the YouTube channel, guys. You can go and check it out. I'm not gatekeeping, it's free content, okay? We've taken a buy very simply based off of the strategy, and you can see here just from the move alone, guys, that's pushed up. I mean, look, this is a 5-to-1 R&R. If we can reach the max, to be honest with you, I would be looking to close the trade in its entirety at the top here, which is 3,500 pips. That's not a joke. That's not a typo. That is 3,500 pips. Now, when we look on the higher time frames, on a 4-hour time frame, look, guys, we have had a pullback with Bitcoin. We've had a bit of a failed high up here, which means we've got a lot of liquidity in these areas above 94, 95K. There's no reason for Bitcoin not to push up. Okay, we've got a lot of information about stable coins, central banks really looking to push cryptocurrency as a whole, which means that if the altcoin space takes a major rocket, if it has a major push to the upsides, we can also believe that Bitcoin is going to do the exact same too. I don't want to get stuck on Bitcoin. I'm not here to spend all day talking about Bitcoin, but if I show you guys off of my weekly Fibonacci here, you can actually see, right, that we're actually in a phase right now. If I move this out of the way, we're actually in a phase where you can see here, price is wicked off the 88%. It's pushed up, it's come back down, and now it's wicked off for the 79%, which is a sweet spot. And it is potentially now showing us a reaction, a positive reaction for us to push higher. Ultimately, for the past 4 days, we've been consolidating. So for the past 4 weeks, for the past month. So we don't want to get ahead of ourselves and say, now we're going to make an all-time high. But if we look at how the charts moved, we had the higher high, higher low, higher high up here. This would be a high low. Okay, this could be a high low if price goes on to make a new higher high. Now, mark my words, come back to this video. We will see Bitcoin reach 140K. That will be the next high. Bitcoin will reach 140K most likely within the next quarter. So over the next 4 months, we're probably going to see Bitcoin reach that. This is the only way Bitcoin is going, guys. Bitcoin is no longer going back to 3 or 4K. Okay, if you look at the trajectory, Bitcoin is only going up. It's just making higher highs and higher lows. It's going to have massive dumps and liquidity sweeps, but we are still in a bullish trajectory here. Okay, so just bear in mind for that. I did want to give a buy in my Discord, but due to the time right now, I mean, look, it's 6:30 a.m. in Dubai, 2:34 a.m. in London. Y'all niggas are sleeping. So no trade there. For gold was really interesting because with gold, again, the LWV strat here, I've got my session zones here where I was buying and selling from. But this was pretty much my analysis, my forecast based on the FOMC. The FOMC conference last week. If the Fed shows plans to keep cutting rates in 2026, that equals a bullish signal. Okay. Before these were drawn out, prices was hovering around. Prices was down here. What am I talking about? We had a buy signal from down here. Okay. We had a buy signal from down here. And of course, this was the outcome. I simply looked at what was going to happen depending on the rate. The rate was positive. It was dovish. And that's the reason why we saw prices exceed 4,250, 43,000. And it's the reason why I've got on my chart here that we're most likely going to break the all-time high, which is 4,400, let's say. Okay, so with gold, unfortunately, guys, you've missed the train. It's best to sit on the sidelines. There's nothing that you can do with gold right now. You have to see a substantial pullback to even contemplate getting into the trade. I personally wouldn't give out no buying signal, even though it looks bullish. I wouldn't touch it. Silver, I've been telling you guys to buy physical silver for years, right? Since 2020 to be exact. Since lockdown, I've been telling guys to buy silver. I know a lot of you in the community have been purchasing silver. You guys would have purchased silver. If we just go back on the charts here, you guys would have purchased silver when it was around $20 an ounce. Okay, $20 an ounce. If we go back here, March 2020, it was $17, guys. $17, $18. We're now at 62. We've surpassed the all-time high of 49, and it now means we're in uncharted territory. Silver will continue to rise because silver will also be an asset that is correlated to a lot of global use. Okay, war is funded. In war, they need bullets. Bullets are made out of silver. That's just one component. Batteries, the lithium contains silver. So silver is a hugely underappreciated asset, guys. Right now, there isn't an opportunity for us to trade it, but there is an opportunity for you guys to purchase it. Okay, if you guys thought about purchasing silver, physical silver, that would be a great idea to do so. I've put links inside the communities multiple times on where to buy it from. So of course, if you guys need any help with that, just let me know. Right now with silver, I'm not going to buy it because it's very bullish. We're not going to buy at the highs. Okay, we buy low and we sell high, right? So right now we do have to be patient. I can't see a trade on there, which just means, guys, being patient. Now lastly, what I'm going to show you guys is, if I can find it here, Nasdaq. That's right in front of me, Cavell. Okay, So the NASDAQ is really interesting. Okay. Tech stocks, of course, they've kind of had a huge, there's been a case, okay, that there's been trillions of dollars floating around the tech stock, okay, the tech industry, right? They say that Nvidia is not really worth 5 trillion. They say that the money from Apple has been, recycled into Nvidia, and so on and so on. And what they're really saying is the numbers will come short at some point. Now, Nvidia's earning reports were positive, so actually that didn't actually negate the fact that this industry was potentially a fraud. But we can't ignore the fact right now that, the NASDAQ is correlated to tech stocks, right? So depending on the performance of tech stocks is going to really tell us where this is going. If we look at the overall trajectory of this, you guys can see, okay, we've been nothing but bullish. At some point, things will crash, things will pull back, okay, a 20% pullback, anything more than a 10% pullback goes into a correction. So, if we see a 20% decline, that's considered a crash. Personally speaking, right now, if you go on a line graph of the weekly, we had this higher high, higher low, price pushed up, new higher high, price came down, broke the previous low. So we are actually, from a weekly perspective, in a bearish, we're in a bearish structure right now, which just basically means off of the daily, if we're looking at entry points, well, it goes without saying, an entry point right now for this would actually be pretty much with price filling the imbalance above. I'd really favor around the 25,500 mark, 25,500 area, because price action is ugly. Okay, price action is ugly. I want all of the imbalance above to be filled. And I'm going to be looking at this. I don't really trade the NASDAQ, but I do use it as a cross reference when I'm trading Bitcoin. If the NASDAQ is coming down, Bitcoin's going to follow it. Okay, so that's my outlook right now, guys. Not too much cooking, more of an observation, more of an insight to show you guys how I look for things, what I'm looking for, and of course, to help you guys in the best way possible. I'll see you guys soon on the next one. Remember, every day is money day. Peace.